Hi everyone, welcome to Paper and Light. This is a YouTube channel about movie posters. My name is Jonathan. I've been collecting movie posters for about 25 years now. I live and work in Vancouver with my wife and our dog Watson, who's currently in the room. Hopefully you don't hear his snoring. Since it's October, we're gonna kick this channel off on a scary note. Scary? Are we saying scary? It's just kind of dark. It's a little gloomy. Spooky? Yeah, kicking things off on a spooky note. Constantine, an often overlooked 2005 comic book adaptation starring Keanu Reeves. It contains many of the hallmarks of a classic Keanu Reeves performance. Minimal dialogue, intense physical action, and grimacing. This movie also continues a deep cinematic tradition that I personally hold very dear. Keanu Reeves walking through a nightclub. Everyone else is enjoying themselves. He is not. Speaking of nightclubs, this is a bit of an aside story here that I didn't know. Apparently, in 2014, Keanu Reeves finished filming a movie and rented a nightclub in New York City to use as the wrap party for all of the cast and crew and such. So he rented this club. He shows up to his own wrap party. The bouncers, they don't recognize him. So they don't let him in. He just kind of hangs out outside, like Keanu Reeves would. Some other people arrive. They see Keanu Reeves and they go up to the bouncers and go, "Hey, that's Keanu Reeves, let him in. This is his party." Of course, the bouncers are mortified, super apologetic. They let him in immediately. Keanu Reeves, it's fine, not a big deal, all good. Goes into the club. The club owner gets wind of this, apologizes profusely, not a problem. Honest mistake. The party is in full force by this point. It's in full swing. Keanu Reeves, he joins on the dance floor. He's showing off his Reeves moves. I am betting Keanu Reeves knows how to dance. He's on the dance floor. He looks down. What does he see? Someone's credit card. He picks up this credit card. He goes to the DJ booth. "Hey everyone, I found a credit card. Let's get this back to its owner." So he reunites the credit card with its owner. The party continues. I mean, the guy wasn't let into his own party and he didn't say anything. There's a term for someone like that.
Cool.
I have sometimes been locked out of my own car and I've made more of a scene. In a pretty stark contrast, back in 2011, the other star of this movie, Shia LaBeouf, got into several physical altercations with local patrons at a bar called the Cinema Public House, which is currently 1 block from where I'm shooting this. Right here. It's a pretty reasonably good local pub. They used to have Big Buck. Big Buck! Whatever personal demons Shia LaBeouf was dealing with that night, he could have learned a thing or two from Keanu Reeves and his character, John Constantine.
Can you please get me into this bar, John? Please? I'm begging you, John, please? Please?
I remember being really excited about this movie when it came out back in 2005. This was kind of the first big Keanu Reeves movie to see in the theater again, and I liked it so much I kept my ticket stub. I remember asking an usher at my local theater if I could grab a poster, and they were kind enough to oblige. Which brings us to the poster. This is a double-sided theater-used one-sheet poster released in 2005. These are referred to as one-sheets in North America because the entire poster is printed on one big sheet. One sheet. So this standard one sheet measures 27 inches by 40 inches, or roughly 68.5 centimeters by 101.5 centimeters for my fellow metric people. And it's double-sided. They started making double-sided posters in the 90s to be used with poster light boxes, which I am incredibly fortunate to have here. It looks like there were 3 main designs that the studio released. Posing with crazy crossgun, walking with crossgun on a windy day, and this amazing cigarette smoke demon design. All of those intricate little demons and the fact that it's all emanating from cigarette smoke, it's just interesting to look at. This was designed by BLT Communications in Hollywood, which is going to be getting a lot of shout outs on this channel because they're responsible for thousands of movie poster designs. This was the directorial debut of Francis Lawrence. Now, if you don't know that name, you're certainly familiar with some of his other films. He was a music video director before this, and I feel like you can sense that in terms of how he's able to compose some of these shots, spending a lot of time on the visual energy. Just look at this shot of John Constantine putting his feet into water. That didn't even necessarily need to look that good. They clearly spent a lot of time on just that one setup. To me, the most impressive shot is of Rachel Weisz's character falling from the top of this building. It's just interesting. Where the movie is on less even footing is where dialogue is involved. Constantine is an adaptation of the comic book Hellblazer, which was written by Alan Moore. Alan Moore had such a terrible time with the film adaptations of some of his other works that he renounced all financial royalties and asked that they instead be paid to the other people that worked on the characters in his comic books. In the Hellblazer comics, John Constantine is blonde and from Liverpool, apparently supposed to resemble Sting. So you can imagine there was a bit of an online uproar when this film was being made because seeing a brunette Keanu Reeves walking around LA wasn't exactly faithful to the source material. From what I remember looking at message boards and things is that everyone thought that this movie should have been set in England and should have starred Paul Bettany. The closest they would get to that would be Bettany's later films Priest and Legion, which honestly take quite a bit from Constantine. The film's title was changed from Hellblazer to Constantine to not be confused with Hellboy, which had come out 1 year earlier. The prop for the Spear of Destiny that appears in Hellboy was also used in Constantine. In terms of performances, there are some highlights, Rachel Weisz being the main one. She brings a real emotional depth to the movie. I don't think it would have worked nearly as well without her. Tilda Swinton is really interesting and fun to watch as the Angel Gabriel, and I love that they use these eye lights to kind of show the audience who was an angel or a demon. It's an obvious callback to Blade Runner, where eye lights were used to show the audience who was a replicant. The one actor who completely steals the movie, though, is Peter Stormare, showing up as Satan in the film's climax. He's somehow creepy and charming at the same time. I mean, just look at him. He saves Keanu Reeves from his heaven high-rise. Nobody wants to live on the 10th floor of that building. I think my favorite part of this movie is the production design. It's so detailed and textured, all of these interesting places where these characters hang out and just brood. So many places to brood. The visual effects are solid for the most part, a few shots notwithstanding, and hold up surprisingly well. Yes, there is traffic in hell. What's crazy to me is that this film came out 18 years ago. There's 18 years between now and 2005, and there's 18 years between 2005 and 1987. Constantine made $230.9 million against a production budget of between $70 and $100 million. Not exactly setting the box office on fire, but not too bad either. Some critics really enjoyed it, others not so much. Roger Ebert put it on his most hated films list, which honestly, it's a bit of a head scratcher for me. The majority of the cast and crew went on to bigger and better things. Francis Lawrence entered The Hunger Games, Rachel Weisz went on to Oscar glory, and Shia LaBeouf went on to whatever this is.
Do it! Just do it!
Constantine was then, of course, released onto home video in a number of different formats. Did they use the one-sheet artwork? We're gonna check them out. So first up, we got Constantine on VHS. Yeah, you may not have known Constantine came out on VHS. This was 2006 that this came out, and it is one of the last films to ever be released on VHS. We've even got the classic "Be Kind, Please Rewind." Love that. They use the windy day holding the cross gun photo. Next up we have Constantine on DVD. This is the widescreen edition, back when it used to have to say that because they would release films in widescreen or full screen edition. Shout out to my local Rogers Video. Okay, next up we have the 2-disc widescreen. This is what we would call double dipping, because it would come out on DVD and VHS within a few months of the film release, maybe a year, and then eventually they would come out with a more intricate release. So then you had to ask yourself, well, do I really need another version of Constantine on DVD? Well, to me the answer was yes, obviously. Okay, next up we have the HD DVD release of Constantine. This was the competition for Blu-ray. Blu-ray and HD DVD came out at around the same time, and they were competing for who was going to own the HD physical release market. One thing I liked about HD DVDs are these little feet on the cases, which meant you could sort of stand it up on its own. Yep. Rachel Weisz is sort of behind his right shoulder here, and then we've got some demon stuff going on back there, so kind of an interesting black and white motif. HD DVD only came out for a few short months, and then Blu-ray took over that market. So this is the most up-to-date release of this movie. Constantine has not come out in 4K Blu-ray, though I imagine with all of this talk of a sequel, that will change. Okay, now we're getting into some real shit here. This is the Constantine novelization. They used the poster, and I love this. To me, this is the best release of this movie, is this novelization, because they used the original poster art, and I think it looks really, really sharp. I think it looks really good. And finally, we have the soundtrack to Constantine. They used the poster art a few times here, so they used it for the front cover, which I love. I'm a big fan of this image, as you know. They also used it for the disc itself, kind of cool, kind of this black and white thing. This image kind of appeared on the back of most of the releases. That would have been a great poster as well. I think better than the Windy Day walking with my gun type of thing. They should have continued this image behind here. I always think that looks really sharp when there's CDs with these clear jewel cases and the artwork continues behind. Anyway, happy to have this. All of the releases featured this distinctive design for the Constantine title, which must have been created after the film was finished since it doesn't appear in the movie itself. Maybe Francis Lawrence didn't like it. What does appear is the Constantine title in, I believe, a more minimal font, Futura, which is often heavily favored by Christopher Nolan lately. So how good a poster is this? When I talk about posters, I'm going to be using a subjective grading system that I created called the Art Score. A is for aesthetics. How good is the design? What is the typography like? How is the use of color and light? Basically, is this a nice poster to look at? R is for representation. Does it match the look and feel of the movie? Is there a sense of story that's being presented? T is for titillation. Not just a fun word to say. Does this make me want to see this movie? Does this get us excited for it? That's the whole point of the poster. For aesthetics, I'm thinking high marks here. It doesn't really feel like a traditional movie poster. There's no big floating head or just a photo scan. It's using a lot of different elements with this smoke and the demons. I really like it. And now, it's tagline time.
Hell wants him. Heaven won't take him. Earth needs him.
Coming to your local theater this February 18th. For aesthetics, I give this poster a 3 out of 3. For representation, I think this poster gives a pretty good sense of what to expect from the movie. It's dark, it's dreary, Keanu Reeves is in it, there's demons, there's smoking. The majority of the movie does take place at night, and it's kind of rainy and reflective and very dramatic, and that's what this poster is. I'm going to give it 3 out of 3 for representation, which brings us to titillation. Does this poster make me want to watch this movie? Yeah, absolutely. As soon as I put it up, I was like, oh man, I gotta watch that again. And then I did, and I would say this poster might even be a little better than this movie. I would say that. I think it has some pacing issues. I think that it can be a little bit too indulgent in just watching Keanu Reeves kind of glower around and not really say much.
Who's that for?
But as a place to visit, it's kind of fun, if that makes any sense. So for titillation, I'm going to give this a 2 out of 3. So right now, our art score is 8 out of 10. Pretty damn high. But I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute. A perfect score could only give you 9 out of 10. What the f***? Well, first of all, the perfect movie poster does not exist. And secondly, I'm going to be allowing 1 point to be awarded by my better half. This is going to be the does my wife actually like it point. Or wife point? Wifey point? Wife point? Wow. That, really? So, did my wife actually like it? Well, there you have it. With a final art score of 8 out of 10, this poster is a modest winner, not unlike the film itself. It's pretty good. It's not the best, it's not great, it's pretty good. Good art makes you feel, and this poster makes me feel... It just reminds me of the month of October. Everything's kind of dark and reflective and shiny from all the rain in Vancouver, and I just like it. I also understand why certain people wouldn't like looking at this. I mean, it's basically a bunch of demons in a smoking room. Yeah, I get it. This poster is somewhat rare. You can expect to pay between $40 to $60 for a good condition one sheet like this, double-sided. You can check eBay, or I often use a website called emovieposter.com where they have monthly poster auctions, and they kind of run the gamut of movie posters and what's available. Well, that is Constantine. Thank you everyone for watching. This is my first episode. This is crazy. This is finally happening. I've been thinking about this YouTube channel for a long time, and I am thrilled to finally be doing this. I truly believe that a good collection needs to be shared. So in that spirit, I'm going to be giving away this poster. So if you want to start your movie poster collection or just add this one to it, all you have to do is sign up for my Patreon, the link to which will be in the description box below. When you sign up for my Patreon, you're automatically entered into a monthly draw. So we're going to be drawing for this poster, and we're going to ship worldwide, so it doesn't matter where you live in the world. I really appreciate the support, and that's going to be going towards showing you even more interesting movie posters in the future. So if you enjoyed this episode, there's going to be a lot more. I have a ton planned, so consider subscribing. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, and I can't wait to show you more.
Make your dreams come true!